Right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Katy Huff, and you're listening to Setting Yourself Free podcast, where we are encouraging people to be set free from whatever is holding you back from being, doing, and having all that you were created to be. This is episode 21 with Miss Marlena Presser, and I'm excited to share with you all her exciting story in regards to setting herself free. And so before we start, I want you to know where you can follow this podcast by going to www.katy-huff.com to learn more about my book, coaching, courses, and retreats. Follow Katy Huff Ministries on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more encouragement, and stay up to date on all things happening with Katy Huff Ministries. So here we are, blessed to have Marlena Presser, my dear friend. So tell me and share with our guests, what have you set yourself free from?
Childhood trauma. And that I realize can be pretty much anything. We all have childhood trauma of some sort. But some people have more severe childhood trauma or young adult trauma than others.
True.
And everyone's feelings matter, and everyone absorbs and handles things differently.
That's right. And so let me ask you this. Can you share a little bit more about what childhood trauma looked like for you?
As a young child, my parents were divorced when I was like an infant, I say under 3. And my mom, unfortunately, now looking back, it was a fortunate thing, but at the time, it probably wasn't for her. She had 5 kids before she was 21. She was married to a longshoreman and a drinker. He drank, and she was left, with, at that time when I was little, myself and my brother. My brother's 10 months younger than me, for days, because he would go on these drinking binges and stuff. But I don't remember too much of that. But her choice of that lifestyle just accelerated as life went on, time went on, more kids, more responsibilities, a different husband, and she still drank. And my stepdad was not really a drinker, but he got involved in motorcycle gangs and drugs, and the combination of drinking, drugging, and they raised, by this time now, 7 kids. I have 5 brothers and a little sister. And it wasn't until I left home when I was 17 to get married to my husband, who was an alcoholic. That was familiar and comfortable, But it wasn't until that time when I realized the impact and started to really focus on when I chose to leave to get married to my husband, that I loved him. I used him for an escape to get away from the ongoing abuse of multiple people day and night coming in, camping out, men, women, drugs, gangs, shootings. I mean, it was intense. Multiple people molesting my sister and I, probably my brothers too. I don't know that. I since I only have one brother left, and I've never asked him. But being abused by my parents, and allowing that is abuse. Also being sexually abused by my dad, my stepdad, and not having any engagement with my biological dad, because he was already, pretty much gone too. So just a lot of weird trauma and how you cope with it, So then when I married my husband, it was like, oh, I'm free. Well, I wasn't really free. I put on another hat, a different mask, and had 3 kids of my own. But in that whole journey of having my own children, I never allowed them to have a relationship with their grandparents, really. It was only a superficial relationship. They never got to spend the night. They never got to go do childhood things because of fear I had. I didn't want them to be exposed to the craziness. So anyways, in 2021, I just started working on, I thought, as we all think, oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. But I remarried, divorced my husband. That was terrible. The first husband, remarried the second husband, and he served me with divorce papers. And that was in October 2020. And when that happened, my world came crashing down. And it was, okay, I thought I had healed from a lot of stuff, but it's back in my face. And I guess I got to go on and move forward. And what does that look like? What do I want? How's it going to change my life? And my kids, adults now, I didn't realize that I was broken because I only, seen myself as being perfect. But they seen me as being broken too. So our relationship kind of went to the wayside too. Not that we never not spoke to each other. It just was not the same. And so it's been a journey of how am I healing myself? Because I have to heal myself first. I realized that I have to get rid of all of the anger, the frustration. So I started journaling in 2020. And then the first 3 months of my being served the divorce papers in my crash, I journaled 12 journal books.
Yeah.
And I started from when I was as young as I could possibly remember up to current, and I wrote a lot of not nice things in there. I wrote everything. I wrote as much that came to my brain, good, bad, ugly, indifferent. And it really did set me free in a lot of ways. And I still really think that that's, an important part of the cleansing because we carry all that stuff in our head and it doesn't allow any good to come in. It's kind of like we're stuck on that broken record and it's just playing and playing and playing and it can't get over the hump to get out of that groove,
Right.
But so, just journaling and trying to figure out spiritually, where am I? Who am I? Who do I believe? What do I believe? Because I don't know, because that's not a part of my life. That wasn't part of my upbringing. So that too has been another interesting part. But I do know that I always want to continue to learn. I want to continue my spirituality growth. And I can't say I don't believe in God. I can't say that I don't believe in angels. The universe, the creators. I mean, we're here for a purpose. And I know that. And I am figuring out what my purpose is and what my passions are. And that's a fun, exciting thing because in my journaling, I write down stuff and then I go back a couple days and I'm like, wait a second, wait.
Yeah.
What about this? Because I want to play like a kid. I want people to have toys and I want to share my toys. And so not ever really being a child and having a childhood because I was the oldest, that's really been, I take things way too serious, way too serious. There's no fun life. There's no spontaneous fun, like go jump in a mud puddle or something. But I love gardening. And so that's what I try to do as much as possible. Go work out my yard and just be with Mother Nature. And it's mental therapy for me,
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's a very great creative outlet to get grounded in whatever is going on, and obviously heal from the past, and obviously know that, I mean, I know that there, for me personally, that there is a God in heaven that has a plan, and it's perfect, and it's right on time, and he's never early, but he's never late. And he definitely has a plan for you, and he never leaves us or forsakes us. And it even says in his word that there will be trials and tribulations, but he has overcome the world. So a lot of times we forget that that we should be having this panacea of a life which is just perfect. But in all reality, excuse me, I always say that there was only one perfect person in my mind that walked this earth, and that was Jesus, and that was God. And none of us will be perfect, but he never leaves us, even in those very, very hard times, because I can only imagine what it would have been like had he not been beside my side in so many things that I went through. I know I wouldn't be where I am today had I not realized that, I wasn't walking alone. And so how have you seen God moving in your life, or where you've been set free from even what you went through in your childhood, and then of course getting married, and that's pretty common that you duplicate what you learn when you're growing up.
The old saying, children learn what they live. There's really some truth to that. Not really some, but a whole lot of truth.
Yes. Yes.
But the good
Yes.
thing was I never turned out to be an alcoholic, and I was not a drug addict. And in this whole journey of, just 5 years ago, I buried my ex-husband with my children from alcoholism, and realized that I have a sibling and a sister left of my entire family.
Wow.
Cousins, uncles, aunts, grandparents, everything. And all of them, I wrote a family tree out once of they've all died from alcoholism or drug abuse. So for me to even dabble in that is very scary. And, I have to remind myself on a regular basis when I, want to have 3 or 4 glasses of wine, because I feel like I deserve it. Whoa, wait, stop and think here, girl.
Right.
Do you really need that? But setting me free was, I have a fantastic relationship now with my husband. I learned something that I never had, in that, and I'm still learning. Don't get me wrong. I don't have it perfected yet, but hopefully soon. Boundaries, and what boundaries entail, because I just think of, well, you can't go cheat or whatever on a game. Well, that's true. But the bottom line is, if you don't set boundaries, you're only cheating yourself in so many ways. So I have learned that, and I'm still learning that as time goes on. Like I said, I have a really, really good relationship with my husband. We talk about everything, which is really good. And if he wants to go somewhere or do something himself, I have complete trust. I didn't have trust because that trust was always broken. So I have trust. I know what to expect. I know that if I ask him something, he's gonna, tell me, and I might not like it, but it's, some things are have to be on me, and I have to take responsibility. So, learning that too. I mean, it's an ongoing learning thing every day, but every day I at least try to, write a paragraph in my journal. And I do meditation, which I've never done before. So I'm learning, but there's all kinds of meditation, and you don't have to think that you know everything, because we don't. And everything resonates with a different person in a different time, in a different place. I told Katie that I have been working on, since this whole thing, with my future now husband on some really cool humanitarian projects, and I've been working on that. I changed my American status to be American national, not under the corporation, but on the land and soil, to be a true American. And that was kind of an interesting thing too, because I felt like I was going back into time when I signed those papers, that I was a pilgrim woman. I was coming for the first time to the land. So that was fun. And that was just for me, nobody else that I knew did it. That was my choice. I worked on that. I really did some research. I spent time just for me. So that was a huge deal and a huge decision. That's
So
it.
what advice would you give to someone in a similar place that has had such a broken childhood and even first marriage, and trying not to, they say, the experts, that if you don't learn from those types of things, they can rear their ugly heads and be repetitive, obviously, going forward. And so what advice would you give someone who may be going through something like as traumatic as what you went through as a child? And what tools or suggestions would you suggest? I mean, mine's always pray, pause until you have peace. It's always the 3 P's. You pray and you are asking for direction, because God knows that I don't have the answers, but I know He does, because He has a perfect plan for all of us.
Right. Well, I think asking, the universe, your God, your whatever, because if you don't, Creator, I think that you have to ask someone. And, in your time of desperation, you're just like, please, God, universe, Creator, whoever you are, please, I need your help. And I think that asking for that is a huge thing, and not assuming that, they're here to rescue us. But if we don't ask and surrender and say, okay, I will, listen to whatever I have to listen to, including myself, and seek out some good coaches. And if you have a counselor or a coach or whatever, really don't just go there to, share your story. You got to go there to do the work. And if you're not willing to do the work, you're going to be in the same situation. And I had a counselor that I had been going to. I actually had 2 coaches and a counselor. And I had been going to this counselor, and we do it on Zoom because it was during COVID. And I finally got to the place where I said, Cynthia, I love you, and you have gotten me through where I, needed to be in this point in time in this whole process. But I'm further along than what you have to offer me. It's time for me to move on. And I had to seek out another coach. And so, and I needed one that could help me ground myself and be strong just in myself. But at the same time, I was needing someone that could help me through a relationship. And what did that look like? And shit, it was, I was on Zoom calls 4 days a week for 2 hours a day between coaches, ongoing. And then in the nighttime, I was by myself. So I just journaled and prayed and asked myself, what the heck do you want? And really, I didn't know what joy felt like. I didn't realize that joy is going outside and working in the dirt. Joy is what we like to do. Joy is hanging out with my friends. Joy is going shopping with a girlfriend and not even buying anything. Joy is being on Zoom with my grandbabies. But I didn't I was so busy doing and not being,
Mhm.
if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah. I mean, there's one of my favorite scriptures is lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. So
right.
you need to sometimes get beyond yourself. Not even sometimes, you need to get beyond yourself and know that you don't have to do this alone, and that there is a God. In my mind, it's Jesus is there to lead me, and I don't have to have the strength because he's already been through all of, what he went through to save all of us to be set free. And so I know that it's not up to my strength because I don't have the strength, but I definitely know where two or more are gathered, he's in the midst of it, and his strength will make it strong for all of us. And so I am just thankful and grateful that we are on a forward movement, and you journaling has always been one of my go-tos as well. I always tell people that my family, when I pass, they will have the greatest bonfire of their life with all of the books
Yeah,
and journals that I have written since 1983.
I
And
know.
it definitely is one that you're going to want to just get your little hot dogs and your s'mores and enjoy the fire of the moment. So, well, I appreciate your story. I appreciate you sharing and giving people some advice of how journaling was a huge thing for you, and just finding joy even in the moment. And so I just want to thank you, Miss Marlene Presser, for being here and making sure that
Thank
everyone
you.
knows to listen to this. Setting Yourself Free podcast will be on www.katy-huff.com to learn more about the book, coaching, courses, and retreats. Follow Katy Huff Ministries on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter for more encouragement, and stay up to date on all things happening with Katy Huff Ministries. So with that, thank you so much for listening. God bless.
Thank you. Bless you too. And I appreciate you.
Appreciate you
And
too.
I,
God
all
bless
right.
you.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.